Check, check. Good morning, traders. This is Perry Wilkie with StartupTrading.com. It is 12 minutes till 9 a.m. Eastern Time on Thursday, October 2nd. Probably because of the holiday, there is really no news today. Just some yabbers scheduled to talk and whatnot. Uh, so as we look back at yesterday's action, and I, you know, said in the morning because we had that large quarterly expiration that went off the board on Tuesday that we could potentially have a training day uh, today. And, I really had no clue of which direction it would be. But by 11 o'clock, you should be clued in. And hence, you could have really been clued in probably right around just right before 10 o'clock as we crossed over the +1 standard deviation, right? And then we got caught in what I call the Superman up move, right? We just traded between the +1 standard deviation and +2 standard deviation in both the NASDAQ and the ES all the way into the close. And if I also made the comment that uh, we had got below the expected uh, toss low of the day. However, as soon as we regained that, it became support, right? There was another clue that you weren't going lower yesterday. And then we just basically, after the bell, come back and tested that expected low move of the day again, and then just kind of drifted up towards the high. We didn't hit it on either indexes, but that was the directional bias. You couldn't take out that expected low move of the day, so you just drifted higher. Looking at where we are now, we are on, right, we had consolidation ever since rollover. That I'm going to round this off a little bit, but basically between 66.40 up to 67.50. So about 110 points. There was some trades that went out of that range, but not enough to write home about. So as we look at that, so that's really still your bogey to stay above 67. 50, let's call it. So we're about 27 points above there. We could get a recheck close to there today. Remember, yesterday's low is 56. So you would want to maintain that as well. And let's look at just double check at what the bell low for yesterday. I'm sorry. Uh, I was wrong. So 67.03 was yesterday's low. Uh, 56 is the overnight session low. So as we look at that, I don't see us taking out yesterday's low uh, as a trade. If it sets up, we're going to know pretty good because you're going to get below uh, Jack's midpoint and you're going to start holding below the midpoint, right? So uh, still watch that upper mid for the time being. So as we look at both of these indexes, I'm not going to beat it up. I just did that on the ES. We are opening up. Remember yesterday we got to we kind of opened up right around the expected low move of the day. We're at the expected high move of the day right now for the Nasdaq. Right, the ES still has room all the way up to almost 6,800. Right, it's got it up to 67.96 quarters where it is, but you should be aware, right? Uh, Basically, there's no reason that we can't, right? We could maybe flirt around up here for a little while at the open, but we could just kind of drift lower all day today and even potentially close around this 24,964 or 6750 in the ES as potential, right? Just the opposite problem of what we had yesterday, right? We couldn't get above where we were expected. We couldn't get below yesterday where we were for the 1 day move. We have to see if we can get above the expected 1 day move on the NASDAQ. That's really what we need to see right out of the gate this morning. And as we look at positioning, I do want you to know that there is positioning, above us, right? That's fairly significant. For the week, right? We got 67. We closed yesterday on the cash market at 67.11. We're up around 17 points, so I'm not going to get into all the offset shenanigans between the futures and the cash offset because one closes at 4, one closes at 4:15, blah blah blah. But let's just assume that it's about the same. Uh, so we would be opening up just a little bit above 67.25 at this point, and you could see there's room, up to 67.40 to 67.50, and there's still that should be your first, resistance. Uh, is at 67.50 for the week, but for the day you can see 67.65 to 75 is kind of, you're kind of at your limits there. So if we can get over 67.50 in the cash market, not the ES, but at the cash market, you would be wanting to see if you could get stuck between in this 15-point range. And my guess is it'll be a little bit of frustration. And I would wait for, if you don't have an entry, I would wait for an expansion bar uh, before you even think about getting in, right? Let the market shake some people out, and then you can analyze and see where you would like to try to participate. So that's the cash market. Uh, 67 670, I'm sorry, is the call wall long term. If we go down to the bottom of the sheet here, you can see that 670 for the SPY is the call wall. We are just slightly above there. We've traded up to 670.62 in the overnight session. We're currently trading 670.45, so we're a little bit above there. So that is going to be potentially one of two things, right? This is either going to be where you just oscillate back and forth within a couple dollars either way, maybe a 35, 40 point range, maybe $1.50 down, $2 up, or you hold this as support, right? And you kind of go back and forth. Keep in mind, if we stay above here and don't really get anywhere, if you cross back below it later, you could get a pretty good 30-point pullback later. And, in the afternoon, that would be something to watch if you can't maintain above there. And that is if we do hold above it this morning. So you can see that 670 and 669, that's your large gamma still for the week and the day. But 672 is your next move up, right? That would be about 15 handles up higher than we are right now in the ES. So that's not going to be a lot. So you're looking at basically around 67.94, 95 would be where this 672 is right there. And you can still see you could slide all the way up to 675. And then, at that point in time, as day traders, you just have to be done. And to be honest with you, probably around 672 half to 673 is where I wouldn't try to push it up above unless you just have a runner and you're just trailing your stop, and you'll probably get stopped out. Uh, Looking at the Qs, same thing. If we get onto the bottom of the sheet here and look at all the positions, uh, 580, right, is your floor. 600 is your top. We're above the top, right? So right now we are trading 607 basically. So we are up in here. So we'll see if 600 becomes the the floor for now. But uh, technically on the Qs, we are overbought at this point in time. But you can see looking at the day and the week, right? We have room up to 610. So we're overbought on the long-term structure, but for today and the week, we really have room. Think of it in two positions. You got basically, I'll even break it up into three sections. You got 600 to 602. You got about 602 half to 605. And again, we're trading 607 right now. And then 9 and 10 is your kind of your resistance at the top. So you're only looking about another 40 to 60 points higher in the NQ before you really hit this area, and 80 to 120 for the top. Again, we're excuse me, we're trading 607, so $3 up would be this 610. That'd be about 120 NQ points up as your upper limit. That'd be 25,280 basically, is that? But I still think you're going to have problems between this 9 and 10. Uh, and then we'll have to see. Normally, we've been getting like an 80-point rotation on and off. Today could be one of those days when we're in such strong positive gamma. If the VIX isn't doing much, and because there's no news, which means there's no catalyst, right? Except for shutdown headlines. And I don't think anyone's in Washington, D.C. today. I'm just kidding. But I don't think anything is going to be really significantly crossing from there. So again, what I always say, watch this range. I'm going to break out the VIX here for a second. But really, what you want to watch is, are we maintaining above or below these bell? I'm going to turn off the extended if I have it. Yep, there we go. But you really want to turn off and see if you can start, to get highs, you really need to make lows in the VIX. You can see that, Monday we had the low, but we really haven't crossed over and, dominant. We haven't been rising, but we really haven't been, taking out lows. And then if we look at the real VIX, right, this is the term structure for bidding and, cost of carry and all that. I'm not going to get into all that. But as you look, we're right around 16. And then as you can see from, where we've run into tops, we did hit this 1529 down here on the 26th. But the floor has really been right around 1575 up to 16. So we're right around there. So the VIX really needs to start getting, if you want to look at the actual VIX and not the futures contracts, it really needs to start getting between this level, or at least holding these lows for us to be able to do more of a float higher. So let's get into positioning again. Uh, So for the Qs again, we're around the toss one day expected move, but we have room up to 610, right? So we have room for another $3. Do we get a pullback first or what? But I would expect 600. I don't see that getting taken out today. That would be $7 down. Uh, so that would, you're looking at 280 points down is around where that is would be, and that's also where the toss expected one day low is. Uh, looking at, and again, the 670 for the spies, uh, that is the wall on the week, the day, and long term. So we'll see if you get anything above there. Again, there's a little wiggle room, but it's you've really got to start pressing. And the only thing that I would say that I wouldn't even be entertaining anything to the upside at this point in time if it wasn't for one thing, right? We've got the breakout after consolidating, right? We've got an impulse up. So if the VIX cooperates, we could, potentially do this a couple more days. Um, Headlines, the market just loves to rip in the face of negative headlines, and that is the crux of a bull market, right? When you're ripping higher and negative at all-time highs at those, keep in mind from that pullback we had earlier this year, right? This, playing devil's advocate here, but that pullback that we had earlier in the year, we're at the profit targets, right? So we either need to start heading up towards the 61.8 and kind of holding those profit targets, the neg 23s as support here in the next few sessions, or we're just going to end up rolling over. And keep in mind, when we do roll over, we will take out many days in a row. But right now, it's going to be difficult to take out below where we broke out from. Again, that's going to be right around 25,000. That's your first bogey. So and if you look at that move that we had yesterday, right? No retracement in the overnight session, right? So going red on the screens will be your first indication of a look above and fail on this breakout. But with the way positioning is, I think we're in no news today. I still think we're just gonna kind of float around up here. Status quo is going to be, probably a 260 point range tops for the NQ, and probably 45 to 60 points tops on the range for the ES, and maybe get a little back and forth, a little two-sided in there. But I'd be really hesitant to do anything to the short side as long as we're above this breakout, unless the VIX is just screaming higher, right? You've got what you look at. I've got to go help a friend out, fortunately for me today, so I won't have to try to dissect this in the morning. I'll be playing the afternoon session. So I hope this helps you guys. Just keep in mind that you got probably 120 points up to 280 points down. There's your risk to reward, but it doesn't mean we have to trade down. But we want to see, again, I'm going to just reiterate this. You need to see the SPY hold above 670, or I would say it could come back down. You see where these overnight lows are at 669. It could maybe wash some of those out, but it really it has no business getting below 668 half. Uh, and then 668 would be it, and then you're just kind of back into this impulse, all this poor structure again. So I would look for the second window down to the second and the third window down. So again, I don't think that you're going to be able to maintain trades below 67.46, and I don't think you're going to be able to maintain trades below 25,950. All things being equal. So I hope this helps. You guys have a great day. We'll see what non-farm payroll brings tomorrow.